Welcome to Gray Overload. I'm Anthony. Today I'm going to build my PC to replace my little backup box that I currently is having some trouble staying on all the time. So I ordered some parts here to replace a little system that I use quite often to back up everything and everything else. I do have everything backed up. I have a very good, I think, robust backup plan for my data. But the computer just won't stay on all the time. So I decided to go through and get some parts. I'm going to put the PCPartPicker list below so you guys can kind of see what I all bought and everything. But I'll go through it here real fast. I did an unboxing of a few items here, like the case, the power supply, and the motherboard. The motherboard is the MSI B450i Gaming Plus AC. So there's wireless on here, which is going to be helpful until we bought this house a few months ago, and I still haven't got to wiring it all up the way I wanted to. But for right now, this will be great for the wireless because it may not be in a location where it's easily accessible to be wired at this point. But then I also bought the AMD. This is a 2200G. I had some really low power stuff before, like it barely used any power. But it's really old. It's like 4 years plus old, 5 years old, something like that. But this 2200G is going to be much improved. Let me know if you guys want anything tested on this 2200G. This box is going to be way more powerful than what it is. Not, like my desktop powerful, but it's going to be a thing that I can, do a little bit more work on and, do something more than just backup data. Then I had the Evga Supernova 650G3. So this is going to go in the bottom here for the power, but way overkill as you can see for the parts I have. But you know what, I'm kind of, for the deal that I got on it, and I don't remember all the prices for these, but I got a really good deal on this. This was like with rebate, was only like $59. So I was like, it's a 80 plus gold. So I'm really excited about that, being able to get such a good deal on it. So I think in total, all of this was like 600. No, I don't want to spend that much, but 400 and some. 465, I want to say roughly. I could be off there, but it was a really good deal. I'd have to look at my receipts and add it up. But then I got 16 gigs of DDR4. What is this? This was DDR4 3000, and I just looked between like 2933 all the way up to like 3400. See what the cheapest price was, and this was a Team Force Vulcan, and they just had a great price on it. Hopefully it works well with Ryzen. We'll find out. But, and then I got the Thermaltake suppressor F1. And this is one decision that me and my wife kind of made together, what she would also like, because she's going to have to look at it too. Because this is a bigger case than the one I had, than the one previous. It's the same length, but it's a little bit taller and stuff, because this is a cube rather than the little guy I had before. But it should fit all my parts in just fine. I'm excited to build it. You'll notice I don't have any hard drives here. And all the hard drives are in the computer currently, and right now it's actually running, fingers crossed that it still is. But since it's still running, I'm keeping it up until I can just transfer them into here. I'm not going to do format or whatever. I just want to get it up and running. We'll see. Maybe later on I might move to an M.2 drive in here and maybe upgrade through that process. But right now I just want the drives in here, get it working, and just be able to kind of, be okay. And I may not do too much cable tie stuff, but this is one of many, I hope, build videos I'm going to have on this channel, because I'm actually excited to build different computers, help people get their systems up and running, and get something for them that's very optimal for them. Something I've been doing since I was about like 12, 13. So, up when, dial-up was, the only thing I could get. Oh wait, my parents are basically still on dial-up there. I think they might, actually no, my parents were able to get DSL a few years back. So that's where I kind of grew up, in the boondocks. So we'll see. Hopefully one day they'll get faster internet. But this is a build, and I'm excited for it. So let's get started. So here, with the audio being messed up and stuff on this recording of the video, and then I also decided to speed it up as well. I'm just going to record a voiceover. This is a little bit easier here. But as I'm taking the case apart, I was able to find the other mesh for each side panel. They actually were stuck together in shipping, so they must have fell. But Thermaltake did send both of them in there. So the mesh actually is just magnetic. It can come off, so you can easily clean it. Very impressed by that. And they did have side mesh up in front for that big fan that's in the front there that works. I mean, that big fan really helps keep that system quiet and quite cool. A little bit later, I'll talk about the CPU cooler, and I like that a lot, but I'm a little concerned that it might be a little bit too, it can get a little whiny. Basically, I can hear the fan. It's nothing major. It's just an annoyance. I don't even know if my wife hears it. It's just something I hear. But this case did come with a couple hard drive trays, as you saw me take out, which I was impressed with. There's the other one right there. And these hard drive trays are interesting. They just snap in. They can hold 2 drives in this case. This case is probably built a little bigger. You probably could fit more in there if they had some more trays in a different configuration. But the trays, right now I got them both populated. Eventually I probably go to the M.2, maybe do some bigger drives. I'm just started to get Plex on this now. Since I'm doing this video a little bit later, I was able to run this for a few weeks already. So now that I've been using it, I watch movies on here. I actually really want to play some games. But the one thing I was like, I want to kind of get and move towards where I can kind of access more of my media on the go. And so I decided to start using Plex, and I'm just starting and dabbling in Plex. But here, it'll be interesting as I go forward. If you guys got tips for Plex, keep them in the comments. I'm more than willing to kind of learn more about it, because I'm just getting started here. I want to basically set up my wife and me on Plex and be able to actually back up as well. We use OneDrive in conjunction with, on this system, it actually is a full Backblaze backup, so everything gets backed up. My data redundancy, I make sure I'm not going to lose it. I've lost data in the past. I'm sitting on my desk right here. I got a hard drive I need to recover from way back when. I'm probably going to send it out now that I refound this drive. It was in storage. But overall, I think, there's some things with this system that do quite well, and that's the backup side of it. I want to make sure that I don't lose data. But as you see here, the motherboard and everything else, I've been impressed with this motherboard. Overall, just if I was going to build another system, I might take a look at a different motherboard just to try it. But I also wouldn't hesitate to go back through and just get this motherboard again, because I've been impressed. The I/O overall with the wireless, the display port, HDMI, all right there, the ESP, 8-pin USB headers, and the M.2 slot on it. I was really impressed. I really like the board overall. And so I'm more than definitely, if you want a board like this so far with what I've been doing with it, definitely would be one to get and to consider for your builds here. But as I'm going through and I'm installing the cooler here, the cooler, I was very interested in the clearance on the one side. As you'll see, I kind of go back and forth here in a second which way I want to put the cooler. Now you got to line up where all the holes are to be able to attach the cooler. But I was interested in trying to figure out the clearance before I kind of attached it. And you see here, I'll go back in a second to put it back the other way, because you can move the cord to kind of get that clear. And this is where I might actually do a different cooler. I think I can fit a tower cooler in this case, or I can maybe do a downdraft cooler. But I might go with a Modular cooler, because their fans are just amazing. The fans are quiet. I've bought their fans in the past, and I've been really impressed with how they're able to keep the fans so cool, or keep the fans so quiet and keep the system cool. So that's one thing there. I haven't done too much in temperature testing on this system. I don't know why not. It's just sit in the bedroom. But also, the most it's ever done is run Plex and watch a movie at the same time. So, it may have downloaded a OneDrive file at the same time. So you got like their data transfers to it. So it's not really, or Backblaze backups. So how much is it really pushing? I just know right now, like from the system I'm coming from, which was like AM1 socket. What was it? I think it's an AM1 socket AMD Athlon 5350 quad core. So going from a Jaguar core to these Zen cores, which are just a huge upgrade. I've been really impressed with how I was able to go through and just have that much more performance. Very, very pleased with how that goes. So let me know what you want tested with the system, because I'm actually been excited for it and everything else to be able to go through. One thing I want to mention as you go, I'm showing the case off there, is the power supply. I'm basically been using eco mode an awful lot, or all the time. So that's one thing that this system, like I'm not pulling that much power with it normally. So it's just sitting, idle, keeping Plex up, and it gets really quiet. And I've been really impressed with that, how and more power supplies in the future, like some of these 0 RPMs, I can see where they can be a huge benefit on being able to use very little power, and you just keep that power supply basically quiet the entire time, which is really kind of appreciated of me, especially where I have this case, that this power supply does that. Now you see me installing all these wires and slightly ignore what I did with the wiring. I have cleaned it up a little bit since then. Since when I go away, I took it upstairs and cleaned it up before the last bit of this video. But I was just basically kind of putting it together, see if it powered up, and then, hey, try to get Windows activated, which was a fun little task. I own the Windows license. I don't cheap out on it, so, or, I don't, steal it or anything. I make sure I buy all of them, and Microsoft needed receipts, and I had to email receipts and everything else, but it was all verified, but it took some time. So I was just trying to get that all up and running because I did want to move that other system off because of my data being on there. So I got it all finished up here. Here's the final build. I got it kind of, as you can see here, I switched the panels around. So we still got the bottom with the power supply one there. This looks in, you can kind of see the hard drive and the SSD is over here mounted. And the cables are all lined up. You probably can kind of see that, but it's got the mesh. I put then the other mesh on top. This is actually right above the CPU, so that air there, there's airflow there. And then instead I put the side panel on this side so you can kind of see in. There's one cable I'm probably going to do something with down here, but other than that, I tried to clean them up as much as possible and make it so you can't see too many. There's probably some work there in cable management that I could work on here, but I would probably want to do a little bit different cables or run separate cables for each of the SATA to make it a little bit cleaner. But that's there, and so this is the side that's going to be actually facing us like this. So you still got the power buttons here for a little bit, and then this side too. So you'll be able to see these two sides mostly for how it's going to fit in. But then the air intake with that huge fan, I have to say, and just the fan of the CPU because there's no graphics card here. This thing is quiet. My old system was so much louder. So I'm actually pretty pleased with this so far. I'm excited to do a little bit more work with it. And let me know what you guys want tested with it. Because, yeah, it's a new system for me. It's a lot upgraded, a lot more power in here. But I'm excited to kind of take it and make it so I can utilize it a little bit more than what it already has been here. So you'll see I got the I/O here and the Wi-Fi antennas are pointing like that. And then we also have the power supply eco mode on this power supply so far. And granted, I've only had this thing up for about 10 minutes. Never mind, about a half an hour plus because Windows activation, it was fun. Let's put it that way. It got it all. It's all resolved now thanks to Microsoft on a phone call, but it was not as simple as I was hoping for right off the bat. I had a legitimate key. I buy all my keys. And, yeah, it just took a little while to get it all ironed out. And I pay full price for all my keys. So it's not like I'm skimping out on Microsoft. I fully buy all my Windows keys. But, yeah, one of the biggest things about this thing is, yeah, it's a little bit bigger than my old one. But it looks really nice. And it's super quiet and super fast compared to my old system. So really happy with it. Let me know what you guys want tested with this 2200G processor and everything else. I got the cooler on there. It's working great. And I'm going to update the AMD drivers here and just see what it can do. And maybe play a few games on it since it's going to be fun. So, I mean, it's not going to be as fun as my main desktop, but just to see what it can do. So with that, thank you for watching. Thank you for taking the time to help support Gray Overloaded, helping this channel grow. I really appreciate it. And hopefully more builds to come this year and many more in the future after that. So thanks again for watching.